Yeah, John said if you didn't hit record, Janet was going to be mad at me again. I told him I was numb to it. Let me get my head straight. It's always like, maybe my head is just crooked.
Eddie, your head's not crooked, and we've got some people coming in.
Woohoo! Get the chat going.
You're going to get the chat going? We'll give everybody that's joining a couple minutes. We obviously started this early, so welcome, early birds. You have passed that test.
If you're early on time, if you're on time, you're late. If you're late, don't bother showing up. But not in this case. If you're late, please show up. Bill, Jack, Jeffrey, David, right on.
Make sure Smike, our manager, social media manager, is on here. Oh.
Hope so.
All right, one more minute. Smike, our social media manager, is hopping on. He's going to be kind of manning the chat and the questions. Today is not just us talking at you. It is actually us networking with you.
Always.
There he is, man of the hour.
Hey, Smikey.
Mike. All right. Eddie, you ready?
I'm ready. Megan, are you ready?
I am ready.
Fire in the hole.
Yeah, I think hopefully everybody can see the presentation today. I guess we'll get started by saying, who are we? I don't do very many of these, so this is actually probably my first one, I think, Eddie.
See, you don't tell people it's your first one, Megan. If you don't tell people, there's going to assume you've done like 40 of them. It's just like, they used to tell me that in the Marines all the time. Just pretend like you've been there before.
Well, true. But I mean, I've done speaking engagements, but I would probably say my first webinar itself. So obviously, hi, I'm Megan. I'm your VP here at Spotlight Branding. So kind of in the trenches today with Eddie. Eddie, who are you?
Yeah, because I'm in the trenches. I'm not the VP. I'm a copywriter here at Spotlight Branding. I've been here for about 3.5 years. I have a background in SEO writing starting, and I left it for content marketing. So if you have any questions about SEO or content marketing, I'm your guy.
Yeah, he's been with us for a long time. He's one of our vets, literally and metaphorically.
There you go.
So pretty excited about that. But let's jump right in. We don't want to take everybody's full hour if possible, and want plenty of time at the end for questions.
Yeah.
So today we are not going to just talk to you a little bit about why networking is the highest ROI of marketing you could possibly do and why we know that. We are actually going to create a place for networking to take place. So this is considered a networkception, I believe, is the name.
Yeah, it's networking about networking about networking. I mean, it's like, if you ever seen the movie Inception, this is where it came from.
Yeah. Great point. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and start that networking to make sure that each of you are able to get some value from it, but also make some connections to other people within this webinar. So we're going to ask, Smike has already done this, but if you will in the chat, drop your name and email potentially, where you're at, and what is your practice area. And the reason we're saying add those 3 or 4 things is so that in case someone ever needed to refer to someone with your practice area or your location, they now have someone that they can refer to. And this is creating a top of mind moment for everybody. So we'll let you do that for just a quick second.
And hopefully by the end of this, you understand the connection between networking and marketing. A lot of the stats are going to be pulling from, or is all going to be coming from our 2024 legal trends report, legal marketing trends report. We pulled over 15,000 people in the legal industry to find out what they were doing about marketing and what was working, what wasn't working. We're going to be using a lot of the stats we pulled from that to back up about networking and why it works. And hopefully by the end of this, you really want to network.
Yeah. So we'll give another second. Once again, in the chat, drop your name, location.
Don't all drop your name at once. There's a giant onrush. I love it.
Practice area and email in case you want to be reached.
Hey, Bill. Put my name in there. Where are you from, Bill? Woodbridge, Virginia. Is that that's near Quantico, right?
It's near our side of the country too.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I remember Woodbridge and Stafford. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the basic school and in Officer Candidate School and the infantry officer course rest out of Woodbridge. Just drive right through Woodbridge on my way to Alexandria on the weekends.
All right. Well, Eddie, let's jump into the first stat of the day, huh? Cool. Run us through it.
All right. So we're looking at this stat right now. It's going to tell you that when we poll, again, I'm going back to our legal marketing trends report in 2024. We polled 15,000 people. we discovered that 43% of the law firms indicated that networking was their greatest return on investment for any marketing services whatsoever, what they're employing. So to start this off real quick, I'll tell you that I just had a client. I just met with him this week. Absolute gentleman of a human being. I loved him. But he came into the first meeting very apprehensive and nervous and somewhat apologetic. He said, you know what? I just don't do marketing. I'm a lawyer. I've been doing this for 20 years. I don't do marketing. I don't necessarily believe in it. I don't necessarily think it works. The only thing I've been doing is I've been going around talking to people and getting referrals. And I was kind of smiling most of this time because I'm basically saying is like, listen, these are the people, when you start networking and you're talking to people and you're pulling them into your network, you've been doing this for 20 years. You've earned the ability, the right, and the ability to amplify your marketing by beginning to market to all these people you've networked for. And I think so many people are we're going to go in these in later slides, but there are just so many options for marketing. And we highlight there SEO and PPC, which is pay-per-click. But people are so drawn into so many different various levels of marketing. And there's content marketing, what we do, influencer collaborations, social media advertising, email marketing campaigns, video marketing, webinars, what we're doing right now, user-generated content, personalized marketing, affiliate marketing, or targeted ads. The point is our attention is so drawn to all these different shiny objects in marketing and different strategies to market, because there's not just one. But what came out on top out of all these fancy things I just mentioned still came back to networking.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you say that, because this was the highest stat and the two below it are the lowest, which is what people tend to know the language around, like the hot trends of SEO and PPC and, Google ads and things like that. And it's like those have the lowest ROI based on all of those surveys that we sent out. Yeah, the highest one is probably one of the least expensive that people can do. And honestly, probably not as much time invested either, right? It really just requires kind of like you or someone from your firm in order to be participating in, and it doesn't necessarily take a lot of time.
It definitely doesn't take a lot of money. I mean, that's the,
Yeah.
I mean, compared to what we're talking about, I mean, lowest return on investment, SEO and PPC, compared to what those costs are. And I mean, you're really going to find that when you do network yourself, you have a foundation of people to market to. It's the opposite of, I go this a lot. I've talked about this a lot, but the difference between hunting and farming, right? I mean, people are out there hunting for cold leads, people they've never met before. They're trying to use SEO, PPC to try to track someone they've never met, never spoken to, find them on the internet and pull them in, versus building a network of people you've already spoken to, using your own pre-wired BS meter to understand these are the type of people I want to be around. We have a common shared values and ethos, and this is the people I want to work with, and these are the people I want to stay in touch with. So when you don't have marketing, I mean, so you don't have a network, you don't have much to market with. So this is your foundation. This is why when we talked about let's get networking here, it's because this is your foundation. This is who you network. This is who you market to. When you have a large network, you have the ability to market.
Yeah, and networking doesn't always have to feel so businessy, right? Like I think it's some of those things that personal networking is just as valuable as business networking. Mm-hmm. And so some of the very practical ways to do some of that is we have over here on the right side is business groups. Yep. So, you know, our owner, Mark Cerniglia, he's actually involved in a couple different types of business groups that we wanted to share, because if you're not necessarily plugged into one of those, it might be a great idea. And one of them that you can do quickly and easily, and anyone in your firm can attend, is a BNI. In mm-hmm. case you don't know what that is, it's a business networking place to go. And they have local chapters everywhere across the country. And Smike, our social media manager, he's going to be putting a list of these and some links for you to even find some of your local organizations that are involved with these business groups. Thanks, so BNI, I actually attended a BNI several times this year and plan on attending some more later this year, but it's an opportunity to visit different chapters near you. And the idea of going there is to meet other business owners that may be in different industries, but are considered referral resources. And we all know those are your best type of clients that you get back, right? So going to a BNI, you're going to go there and you're going to be like, I'm a lawyer and this is my practice area. And if someone you know needs this type of service, I'm your person. And that immediately networks you with the next connection. Mm-hmm. But all of these people are business-minded people. So you're in a circle of alike people, but you're getting your name out there through different industries. Yeah. So BNI is one of them. The second one is, if you're like a business owner, which most of you are, is the EO organization, which is an entrepreneurial organization that most of the time is the business owners. And you're in a smaller group. They're called forums with several other business owners, and y'all meet on a monthly or weekly basis. Everybody has a different cadence. And then the second one of an entrepreneurial group is Vistage. Mm-hmm. So you've got 3 different business groups as examples, but I wanted to give a minute to let you guys that are here with us today maybe drop some of the business groups that you're involved in so that other people can pick those up, especially if they are like nationwide organizations that you can be a part of. Mm-hmm. So Smike, if you don't mind dropping those. Yep. Awesome. And if anybody has some other ones that they are a part of that I didn't name, you would think would benefit the other attendees in the webinar, we would love for you to drop those in the chat now, and I'll give you a minute to do so.
While you're dropping in the chat, I mean, one of my favorite clients is one of my favorite family law attorneys. When she struck out on her own, the first thing she did is 3 or 4 days a week, she took out a mental health professional to lunch for almost a year straight. I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm not saying it's overkill or underkill, but that's all. She basically has made a lot of connections with mental health therapists and mental health professionals, and they just started trading clients back and forth, saying, I trust you, you trust me, we have an established relationship. And she built her entire practice off those referrals with those professionals. So that was her version of networking. So there are multiple ways of doing this. And she built her firm off that principle. So is again, and she does very limited marketing. I mean, she has a newsletter that goes out. She has a blog that goes out every other month. But that it's just touching base with these people that she's built relationships with over years, and it's still sustained her practice, and it's thriving.
Yeah. And what's great about these are very low cost options, but they're also, going to business events. That's number 2. What can you do at business events? this could be Arete is one of those that's done by Ed Milet. If you may know him, he's a huge thought leader. He's a huge leader in the business world. Obviously, Craig Rochelle, and then there's a couple other guys, but there's business events that you can attend.
Mm-hmm.
There's also legal industry events like CleoCon, ABA Tech Show. We're actually a part of those in there most years. And those are great places to network with other people even in your area, but maybe in a different type of practice area. And that is how you build a network, is finding people that you can connect with and you relate to, like Eddie said, but being available in case they need something for another client that might be needing a different service that they don't provide. So
love it.
As we're going, once again, if you think about business groups that you're a part of or business events that you've attended that you think people would benefit from, don't forget to drop those over in the chat. We want to build this, at least a library of where people can go and find new opportunities for networking. All right, give it to us, Eddie. What's the next one?
Now, this is the reversal of the first slide, which makes it scary for a couple of reasons. I mean, we found that of the people we sent out, of the polls we sent out, that came back that not only did they believe that networking gave them the highest ROI, but it's also going down, and it's continually going down. I mean, this is concerning for two reasons. And we said, we start looking at these stats. We say, why are less people networking themselves, despite the fact they're admitting that this is what their biggest return is? And I think the first reason I came up with it, which is concerning, is I think they're being driven toward the other things I mentioned before. We started talking about all the mobile first marketing, customer reviews, live streaming, chatbots, any sort of marketing, which I could keep going on. You can tell me to stop in the chat as soon as you want me to stop rattling these off. But we're getting consumed saying that these new wave marketing principles are somehow shinier, they're more attractive, or if you dump your money into SEO, these people are going to come running. And the numbers don't show that. And I think it's to many people's own detriment when they start focusing overly on these other things that I've just mentioned and not relying heavily on network and then staying in touch with that network. Now, the other element, I said the second half of this, which is concerning, is that without the networking, your marketing becomes less effective. I mean, so a lot of times we have clients who have 4,000 or 5,000 people on their email newsletter list, and they're kind of stagnant with referrals. But they've been going to networking events. Once we start using those email addresses and start having more touch points, we start adding to maybe 5,500, 6,000. We see an increase in referrals too. So as our networking goes down, our marketing becomes less effective. And the other reason too, just to reiterate, is that when we stop networking, we might be putting our focus into things that we are gambling on, like affiliate marketing or PPC or SEO, things that we acknowledge don't have the same ROI, but we're willing to gamble anyway, but the numbers just don't show it.
What's interesting with this stat too is that if they're only networking a few times a quarter, Eddie, they're probably not taking advantage of the places that you use your time. So just like most humans, you're on social media at some point of the day, right?
Yep.
Well, it's really easy for that to either be a time suck for something that's not necessarily productive or something that's beneficial to you personally and your business, which is a great place to network.
Absolutely.
So you could do this a lot more frequently if you used whatever time you're using on things that might not be benefiting you or being productive. And I am the productive queen, unfortunately. Like, I'm always like, how can I get more out of my minute? And I think that social media and Facebook and LinkedIn are some areas that you can do that in. Yeah. Not only with, like, obviously, if you're doing content marketing on those, but if you're involved in groups on those as well. Facebook groups have become a great place and a great resource for, like, say you're looking for something. I know for a fact, like, the town that I live in has a Facebook group. And immediately, if I'm looking for a certain type of business that I need for something at my house, I'm going to that Facebook group before I go look at Google right now. So social media is a much bigger networking opportunity than people realize. And so I think you should definitely be getting involved in some Facebook groups. We have multiple. I've been on there, and from a marketing standpoint, we're looking to see what type of Facebook groups are out there for lawyers, if we can get involved in those. And there are plenty that don't necessarily let vendors like us in, which is fine, but it's a great place that y'all should go.
Absolutely.
But then there's also, we have a couple examples of Facebook groups that Smike is going to include in the chat. And then we also have our own Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
That way you can connect with even more lawyers and people just like you and start having conversations about, okay, this is where I'm struggling in my firm, or this is where I'm struggling within this part of my business, whether it's admin or finance or operations. What are y'all doing? Start problem solving there. And that's a great place to network and do that, because later on you're going to remember that person, but they're also going to remember you and who you are and what you do. And as someone who's willing to branch out and build their network. I think, Eddie, this next stat that 72% people want better quality leads.
Yep.
If we go back to the last stat,
that
whole 6%, 11% of SEO and PPC,
mm-hmm.
those are not better leads. Those are more leads, which means you're doing the opposite of the effect and calls that you want, which is better leads. And what is going to lead you to better leads is more networking and these organic things, or this content marketing that's going to provide you with people who actually know what you're talking about when they walk in the door.
And what's so fun about this, I mean, it's so mind-blowing. When we said 72% of attorneys said they wanted better quality leads, this number outweighed and then beat down the number of people that wanted more leads. So it wasn't that attorneys were having issues attracting clients. They were having issues attracting the right type of clients. Now, I've said this many times before. I'm a very happily divorced individual. I loved my divorce attorney. I would have given him a referral to anybody. And one of the things I liked about him toward the end of the process, him and I were going back and forth. And he was like, I called him and I was like, all right, you can just charge me for this, or I can just make sure my retainer's over, et cetera. He's like, I'm not going to charge you for this. It was just 15 minutes of your time. And I said, that's a lot. I understand. I said, why? This is hand to God moment. I said, why are you doing this for free? And he said, because you listen to me. And he was doing two things right there. One, he was like, I just appreciate working with people that I get along with. And two, I want you to recommend friends, people like you to people like you for me. He's like, because I'm trying to expand my network through people I get along with. It was a great ploy. And again, it was genuine, it was honest. And within months, I was referring people to him. If I could remember his name, that's a different story. But the point here is that people they want better quality leads. And we talked about that internal BS meter in people's heads. So when you meet someone or when you're networking, you're establishing the network the same way that attorney did with me. He's like, him and I get along, you and I get along. Let's build a network. Let's trade. It's the same thing with networking. You're building your network with like-minded individuals, people that you get along with, and people that you want to work with. You're screening them essentially through your networking. So you can get better quality leads, not through SEO, not through PPC. You're getting better quality leads through networking and then staying in touch with the people you like to work with. It's that simple. It's basic and simple, but it works.
Absolutely. So I want to give a second, because I know that most of y'all are probably on Facebook or LinkedIn. And if you can think of any of the groups that you're involved in, if you are involved, we would love for you to share those with everybody else on this webinar, because once again, the whole idea of this is growing each other's networks.
Yep.
Not just giving you these stats, not just teaching you, but also growing your network in reality, in real time. So I'll give a second there. Once again, any Facebook groups you're in, like I'm actually involved in a Women in Leadership LinkedIn group, and I'm on there constantly. And I see lawyers, I see other business owners, I see people in different industries that I know that we could network with and have different types of webinars. EOS is another one that we're pretty heavily involved in on LinkedIn as far as a group goes for me. But it really just teaches you how to continue to strengthen business and the structure so that it continues to grow without too much issue.
I'm on a hockey team. We're on a group chat. I mean, this is not even an exaggeration, but today someone said, I'm about to buy a house. Do you have anyone I can talk to about mortgage lending? It's like, who in this group? Because they didn't go to Google. They didn't type in who's the best mortgage lender in North Carolina. They went to their friends first. And it's just again, to belabor the point, when I was going through a divorce, the first thing I did was talk to my brother, who's an attorney. And he said, you know what? It's like, call this guy right now. Stop what you're doing. Pull the car over and call this. I didn't look him up. I didn't Google search him. I didn't look at his social media. That referral alone for my brother, someone I trust and love, was enough. And my hockey team's real close and we're real close. So if they give us a mortgage lender, we're going to go with that mortgage lender. I mean, it's going to bypass your SEO. It's going to bypass your pay-per-click. And that's how it is.
Well, I think it's a nice little nugget. I'm not trying to name drop Eddie, but your brother is a lawyer.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because you also have these conversations with him, and your information is also coming from someone else within this same exact group of people.
Absolutely. Yeah. I steal as much information from him as I possibly can for free. Always will.
Yeah, you wouldn't want the bill, would you?
No.
All right. Next step.
This is one of those things we started looking for reasons again, because we're looking for anomalies in like these stats we pull out. So we're looking for, like, we saw that the first stat we showed was, again, that 43% said that networking was their highest ROI. The next stat we're showing here is that networking is down despite its effectiveness. And one of the reasons that we provided there, one of the reasons I put forth is that there's many other options for marketing. There's other options to pursue. The other option here, the other thing we pulled directly from our trends report too, is that this possibly the amount of people that are working remotely, the initial drive post-pandemic to work remotely or work in a hybrid situation is keeping people away from people. I mean, more people are working remotely. So is this possibly contributing to the decline of networking? Perhaps. But the key is, even if you are a remote employee, there are still multiple ways of which you can establish an effective network. Even if you don't want to go outside your house like me, who never wants to leave ever, there are still effective ways to market, even if you want to do intermittent in-person physical networking. So yeah, there's plenty of options to pursue. We've discussed many of them already.
Yeah, I think real quick, let us know what your situation is office-wise right now. Are you in office? Are you remote? Or are you hybrid? Would love to see that in the chat. Drop what you're doing currently as far as work environment goes. And let's kind of see how that stacks up against all of these surveys during our trends report.
Yeah. Hybrid. So when you say hybrid, I'm assuming I'm going to go by your first name is Jeff. I mean, so when you say hybrid, are we talking how many days a week are you in the office? Office. Oh, Bill's an office guy. I'm an office guy too. But we're hybrid here. I mean, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're in the office, and then Friday we're at home, or remote. So half and half mornings.
Oh, nice. I think I'd prefer my evenings just because of my daughters, but I like that. That's fun. We work from home on Fridays. But this is the perfect point of that is it says that this might be why it's declining. But if anything, especially if you have a firm of other people, this is the perfect opportunity to increase that.
Yeah.
Perfect example of this is I actually have a meeting tomorrow with someone who is local to where I live versus I don't live far from the office as far as like a 20, 25-minute commute, but I'm actually meeting with someone who's local to the Belmont community where I live for a coffee at like lunchtime so that we can network and we can talk. And I'm literally going to be referring her to some real estate attorneys, and I'm going to be referring her, she's looking for a house in the area that I live in. And so why this is declining when there's an opportunity, especially for hybrid people, to increase this, to strengthen and increase their ROI on this exact thing is beyond me. I think it's the perfect opportunity. I mean, if they're home and they can get out to a coffee shop and meet with someone, it really does allow them to add value to their business. Add value to your business.
It's funny. I mean, there's potential here to double your networking in two different locales. I mean, your home locale and where you're physically working. I mean, I'm doing this now. I mean, we have a veterans group that meets for coffee once a month, and it's all just professionals in the area. And again, that's something that's done in my hometown versus not something I would do at the office, which is in Charlotte. So this is, I'm actually doubling my networking right there. I just realized I'm doubling as well. Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome. See?
Thank you.
I am here to help people identify value. That is
you can essentially double your networking in two different locations.
Yeah. So, a couple things. Obviously, we've got some hybrids. We've got some people in the office. It's a great opportunity once again to have those meetings whether it's near your office, whether it is near your house. I mean, I know that, like you said, mental health therapists, we work with a couple mental health wellness counselors in the area, and we meet for coffee in the city, and we chat about like, okay, what initiatives or who can I refer them to as far as other businesses because they want to grow their corporate wellness piece of it, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with our health wellness guy. And guess what? He's actually introduced me to 3 or 4 people who are attorneys out of his clientele.
That's
and that
fun.
is just from a conversation about what I do and that he's helping our company, that he has now introduced us to several other people too. And that is the definition of networking.
If people want to do it, it's so strange. Like, it's just like you want to give a referral. Like if anyone puts you in a position, hey, you know somebody and you know somebody that's really good, like you're eager to refer them. I can't explain why it's so natural, but I mean, when you befriend somebody or you pull them into your network or you're in their network, I mean, the freedom of information passes so quickly and easily. I mean, our trainer's giving us names. Just like, he just mentioned people like, oh yeah, they're attorney. I gotta introduce them to you guys. It happens, and it happens quickly.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here and I'm saying, oh, he does corporate wellness, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in the area that we live in. So shout out to Jake.
Yep.
If you need his information, we can introduce you. But it's just that simple. It's having a meeting that is networking. And I think that that's the idea of redefining what you see as networking. And it doesn't have to be a sales pitch. I hate going into a meeting with somebody and having a sales pitch. But the thing is I also love going into a meeting knowing that I probably have some type of arsenal that can help them. And that is what networking is all about, is having an arsenal to help them with something. Whether it's you or someone else, that's only going to grow the value that you provide, not just from your business standpoint, but from a personal value standpoint.
Yep.
So I think we kind of flew right through all of those stats, Eddie.
Yep. But if you walk away with one thing, you know, from all of this is that networking is effective. Networking is a piece of marketing, and it's worth your time. It's no matter how you see these shiny objects I'm talking about, they're kind of been introduced to us since the digital age. Yes, there's a place for all of them, and in some capacity and some level. But don't overlook the freebies that are time tested and work that, like, such as networking, that feed into your marketing plan, especially if you're using content marketing.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here is it doesn't just stop at the networking, because you can go to these events, you can go to BNIs, you can join an entrepreneurial group or a Facebook group, but it's not just going in and actively watching versus participating, right? And what happens when you've made these connections and you have this networking that you're growing? If you no longer have touch points with them or connection points with them, then it's not considered networking. It's literally just making an acquaintance and putting almost like giving a business card that doesn't go anywhere. And so I think the biggest thing there is you got to make sure that you also capture that moment and stay in touch. And the best way to do that is whether you're active on social media with content, or you're continuing to email them either your newsletter or schedule meetings with them ongoing so that you can build that relationship.
Absolutely.
So an ongoing relationship is always going to produce fruit. So I think from here, does anybody have any questions about networking? Let me run down real quick. We've already talked about, how do you do this? Join some business groups. It's the highest ROI. So join some business groups, whether that's in person, on Facebook. We've dropped the links to several, or attend business events where other people that have like minds like you will be there. Another option is to get on Facebook. The second thing is to make sure that you are just creating opportunities to be available, and that this is the cheapest way to market and find referral resources. So let's kind of open it up to questions, I think, Eddie.
Absolutely. I mean, and we talk about networking. We talk about the relationship between networking and marketing. We can talk about SEO, content marketing. I mean, anything we've talked about in terms of how do we turn this into money? How do we, I mean, that's the end state here, right? I mean, we're trying to become a profitable, successful business so we can live the lives we want to live. So how does one turn to the other? So any questions along the way that you've had? Chamber of Commerce, great option right there. Absolutely, Bill.
That is a great example. We're a part of the Chamber of Commerce in our area. We're actually working on a ribbon cutting for our new office location. And so like we've met several people in the Chamber of Commerce in our last office location, and they're continuing to be just a community for us. And that's the idea, is building your community of network.
That coffee group I mentioned previously was someone I met at the last Chamber of Commerce meeting we had. That's a great point, Bill.
Anybody have any questions? Go ahead and drop those in the chat for us. Would love to answer those further.
Yeah, and if you guys don't have questions for us, I'll have questions for you. I mean, what sort of marketing are you using right now? And this isn't a sales pitch. This is more just I'm trying to get a feel for what lawyers are doing. I mean, you look back 50 years ago, lawyers are not marketing themselves. I mean, it's a different realm and testing in terms of professionals. So, what type of marketing are you using? No worries.
Give them like 5 seconds and then you say, no worries.
No worries.
We'll give it another minute while we're waiting for anybody that has questions.
SEO seems like it would yield more consumer-related work if you're looking for business work. Is networking better? Yeah, so marketing that needs updating. Nice, Bill. I like that too. All right, so SEO is one of this. I've told this story before. This is kind of what I talk about. SEO seems like it would yield more consumer-related work. Sure. So imagine this. You're driving down the highway. You see a beautiful sign. It's made out of 23 karat gold. It's advertising this restaurant. I mean, a 5-star Michelin restaurant. It looks beautiful. It's gorgeous. Now, you pull off exit 24, you follow the sign, you get to the restaurant. The restaurant itself hasn't been updated in 15 years. There's rats in the floor, there's holes in the floor, and the place is falling apart. Are you going to stay at the restaurant? Probably not. I wouldn't. And I've lived in the woods for many months. So here's the deal. SEO will get people to the party, but it might not make them stay. And the other thing, too, we talked about that we're going to trace back to that 72% of people wanted better clients. SEO is not something that's going to it's going to pull a lot of price shoppers. If you want price shoppers, good on you. Good luck. But it's not going to pull in the type of people you want to work with. I mean, it's not. You're going cold. You want the friends of your friends will also become your friends. SEO will pull in, will attract people based on keywords. And again, I'm going to highlight that point when my brother told me to call an attorney. First thing, I did not Google that person's name. I didn't Google divorce attorney, North Carolina, help. I didn't do that only because the referral was so powerful in and of itself. So if you're looking for business work, is networking better? Absolutely. I mean, it's because it's going to be the friends of your friends will also become your friends. I mean, it's the type of people you want to work with. And the other thing too, as is the SEO, the networking feeds into marketing because we're talking about content marketing here. So for one example, it'd be a newsletter. So if you have 5,000 people you've gathered through networking, okay, there's people, whatever events you've used, and this network goes out with this email, this newsletter goes out once a month. Even if they delete the thing, you're still going to see your name when they delete it. But the industry standard is about 17 to 28% are going to open a newsletter. Most of our clients have closer to about a 40, but it's 40% of the people on their entire list, which is close to about 5,000 people for a lot of them, are seeing their name every month. So yeah, is it going to pull in business? Yes, because your name becomes top of mind. And Google sponsored Laurel Product, big in the Northeast, also PPC and SEO on the back end. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are all pieces. And if you look, I highly encourage you to download our 2024 Legal Trends Report because it's going to show you everything that you just mentioned: Google sponsored Laurel profiles, PPC and SEO, and where they rank on the 15,000 surveys we sent out in terms of ROI. And most of those are at the bottom. It's only because everything we've mentioned before in terms of how networking is a form of screening. It's a way of feeding into your marketing. It's a way of creating the audience that you're going to be in touch with. It's also a way of generating referrals in an organic way of people that you know and have screened. But yeah, great questions.
Those are great questions. Bill, I feel like you led right into what we do, free marketing that needs updating. I mean, the biggest thing is networking is going to get you the type of client you want, the better client. If you want, like Ben said, more consumer related work, then sure, go ahead and put your billboard out there for people to constantly call you and ask for it. And also ask for cuts in your prices or they're not going to be your better clients. Networking is going to produce better clients because like Eddie said, you're surrounding people with like minds. Or if they're going to refer to you, they're going to be the same type of person that you were looking for in a client. obviously Google will get you results depending on how much you're willing to pay for it. But a lot of times it's also going to get you more work on the front end because those people have literally just searched and clicked versus knowing what you do, going through your website, seeing that you have a lot of education material for them, priming them to be better clients. So it really is a matter of, do you want more clients or do you want better clients at the end of the day?
I always say too, the best way to get your name on the first page of Google is having someone put your name into the search engine, right? I mean, they want to search your name. That's the easiest way to pop up number one. And depending on where you're at, especially in a large metropolitan area, I ask you how many other attorneys are doing the same type of law that you practice in 50 square miles. Now, there are limited space on the first page of Google. So it becomes who's going to outbid the other person and pay to get their name higher. So yeah, there's plenty of space for everybody, especially in content marketing, because it bypasses that. It allows you to stay in touch with your networks. They're not going through SEO. They're not going through PPC. They're going to Google and typing your name in, saying just look at your website. And once they get there, what are they seeing? When I go back to that idea of the restaurant I was talking about, what type of restaurant, what does your restaurant look like? When I say restaurant, I'm using it in a metaphorical sense for your website. What is on there? What does it look like? Does it feel professional? Are there blogs on there? What do the blogs say? Are they educational, informative? Are there resources on there that people can download? Are there, I mean, I've seen family law firms have a list of mental health professionals they work with and referral partners. So yeah, it's like what type of restaurant are they walking into, and are they going to stay for the party? So yeah, so we're talking about getting your network to your website and trying to keep them there in a very honest, informative, and educational way.
Yeah. I mean, great point. Eddie's just talking about how networking is a lower entry of barrier for your potential clients or your referrals. And then on the back end is the restaurant, which Bill, we're kind of the people that build the restaurant. We are a marketing agency. We are very much more on the lead gen and branding aspect of things versus your lead nurturing.
Oh, Megan, I was like, whoa.
Lead nurturing versus lead gen. So we are here to brand. We are here to make sure that you have better clients, not necessarily more clients. I mean, we are running a promotion this month. Obviously, we want to keep that in here. So definitely book a call if you would like to learn a little bit more, where you get 3 months free of what the type of marketing that we do. And the reason Eddie knows so much about it is he actually provides most of that for some of our clients. Yeah. So he's your guy. So obviously Smike, our social media manager, has dropped the link in there for that. You're welcome to click on that. Get with us to talk a little bit more about necessarily what we do, how we build the restaurant to make sure it matches what the networking and the billboards and all of that looks like for you. But we'll give it another minute or two. We are over promising on finishing early. I like that. Being efficient. So we'll give it a couple more minutes. Do you have any other questions for us? We'll let you drop those in the chat. Be sure you go and find those Facebook groups that we put in here. We linked those business groups that we linked for business owners and entrepreneurs just like you, who are probably working hard, and then they need other people to talk to about those hard hours and everything you did to build your business. A BNI group, which is great for not just you, but everyone in your firm, even your paralegals, even your admin people can attend. And then also our Facebook group, because we are going to continue this conversation outside of here and provide you a place to network further.
Yeah. If you've done the work to build a network, just remember you have to stay in touch with them. That's the second half of the equation. It's like exercising really well and then eating nothing but Swiss cake rolls. I mean, so you got to have one with the other. So you have to clean diet, exercise. Same thing with networking. You build the network. The second half of that, the second component of that is staying in touch with them. So don't let a referral opportunity inside of that network slip away because someone doesn't know your name or someone has forgotten it. I mean, it happens too quickly. We have too much to juggle. If you're not staying in touch with your network, you're missing out on referral opportunities. And a lot of times we found that people can almost triple their ability to get referrals simply by staying in touch with them. It's that simple in terms of just top of mind awareness and having these basic touch points, whether it's podcasts, whether it's blogs, whether it's newsletters or video FAQs, all these small touch points to stay in touch with the audience that you've worked to develop. Now you're just trying to reap the rewards from that.
Yeah. And your network includes past clients that you have provided services for. I mean, those are probably going to be your best
Always.
network going forward, where you don't even have to do necessarily the work besides staying in touch with them after you've provided that service.
These are the people you've already established trust with. I mean, in the service-based industry, the name of the game is credibility and expertise and experience. I mean, that's how quickly can you establish credibility and expertise. And your past clients, especially ones you've delivered results for, they're the ones out there confirming that you've delivered.
Yes. Free marketing through them, your network.
Free marketing.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, we do a monthly webinar. It's not always going to necessarily be what we provide. It's going to be things just like this that provide you with value and how to do it in practical steps. We're going to be doing these, like I said, one every month. So just be looking for that next one. If you're a part of our list in our groups, you'll definitely be seeing what our next topic is about in the month of June.
Love it.
Awesome. Everybody have a great weekend, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.